Hello everybody and welcome back to Random Model Kits and More. Last time we had finished the Toggies, Master Grade Toggies. I haven't gotten to being able to primate yet because I'm doing this right after. But somebody had asked about doing a tutorial. I have never in my life done a tutorial. So I don't know how well this will turn out, but we are going to be doing, I wanted to wait until I had a high grade to do a tutorial. But that's when most people are going to have a stepping stone into the models. So we are going to be doing the high grade RX-78 GE Gundam EX from the Netflix TV series. It looks a lot different than the OG Grandpa, but it is a high grade. Now, the things that you want to know about models and model kits. The objects that you need to know, or the symbols you need to know, are right here when you're looking for your model kits. So this here is colored plastic. That means you won't have to paint it. It requires nippers, and it does not require glue. The glue will be cut off. Now it does not say it requires paint. That's because it is colored plastic. Now if you wanted to paint it, you would obviously have to prime it, get brushes and everything else. But this is what you're looking for if you don't want to have to paint your models. You want to see colored plastic. This will tell you whether or not it needs nippers. Now, high grades, master grades, real grades, perfect grades, they almost always need nippers. Same thing with, let's see. Same thing with something like this. Return of the Jedi snap kit. If I look here, it should tell me what I need. And according to this is, you need to be 14 and up. It does not need glue, and it does not need paint. But what it does need is it needs nippers. Unlike an entry grade, something like this. This does not need glue, it needs no tools, and it needs no paint. So, high grades need at least a tool. Now, a lot of people will tell you that you need sandpaper and you need a file. You do not need a sandpaper or a file. What you need is a nipper. This right here is all you need for doing a Gundam model kit. Other model kits are going to be different, but a Gundam model kit, or even an Armored Core model kit, all you're going to need is nippers. Yes. So this is telling me no glue required. But it does not tell me if it is a colored plastic. I believe that it's a colored plastic, but I haven't built an Armored Core kit yet. So we will get there when we get there. Now, these are called nippers. You can go to Lowe's and buy you a pair of nippers like this. They are not the best, but they will get the job done. Now, the reason why people say that you need to get yourself a glass file and you need to get yourself some sandpaper is because when you cut off, and I will show you here in a minute, when you cut stuff off of the sprue, it can leave things behind. Now, you do not need that so long as you are careful with what you're doing. A thing that is not needed, but it is kind of recommended even from me. Again, you don't need it. A pair of tweezers and an X-Acto knife. It's a hobby knife. The X-Acto knife will help you clean up edges. And that's if you want to make your edges perfect. I don't use it all the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The tweezers are for handling smaller pieces for people who have like really big fingers like I do. But now, there isn't a lot to models. There's some, like if you have never put a model together, like some of the terms that I'm going to use might not sound right to you. It may be a little confusing. But we have nippers, and then we have sprues. These are your sprues. All of these pieces are sprues. Now, these are your parts. In here, the instructions will tell you. Again, trying to get my stuff out of the way here. It'll tell you what part number to go to, and then you cut that out. So, let's go ahead and let's get started with that in mind. We're going to open up the first page here. Now, this model is going to be strange because the first page looks like I should be doing all sorts of stuff. But that's not the starting point. So I need to find the starting point of this model. Okay. Now, almost all Gundam models are in Japanese. Sometimes you will get translations, but most of the time not. Now, this here is saying use modeling nippers to trim the excess runner from each part. So, I'm going to show you what I do, and I'm going to show you what other people's do. But in your model, in your instructions, it'll tell you, it'll even show you all the sprues that you need. Everything that should come with this. And it looks like this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sprues and 2 stickers. So, there are symbols while doing model kits that will come up a lot. One of them will be this symbol right here. It is a pair of nippers and it is X'd out. That means do not cut this. I'm telling you, do not cut specific spots. Others will be strange symbols. I will have to either look them up because sometimes even I don't remember. So right here is telling us some of that's going to be in here. This right here is telling us to follow the numerical order. So put this piece together into here, then go here. Anytime something is how many times you're going to cut those pieces out and put those pieces together. This little weird symbol with a little hump, kind of looks like a wave. This is stickers. So it is saying, hey, it wants me to put that sticker, that number, right there. Then you have this symbol, okay? It's slashed, and it's got a circle and a triangle. That means you're gonna choose between this part or that part, okay? Then there's another one. I don't remember what it looks like. I think it's like a circle with a certain symbol, and it's saying do that on the other side. So you want to do it again. This one doesn't seem like it has that specific symbol. So most of the kits don't have all those symbols, but there is a cheat sheet that you can get off of Google. You just Google like model kit symbols translated, and it'll show them up, and you can find it. Or you can use Google Lens to translate the Japanese. I have done that. But we are going to put this together as part of the tutorial. And it's not going to be all of it in one spot. But, so, we start with the body. At least in this model. And we are going to start from the very top, and we're going to work our way down. In the first one, and the first spot is telling us find F1 and 6 and D20. So with my sprues here, I'm going to find F1 6. I just opened my pieces, or my sprues, so I do not know where every piece is yet. Ah, here we go. F1. Now, when you're looking at your sprues, you may not like, well, where's the number? In most of the time, there's going to be this flat square part where it's going to tell you the number. This is my F1. So we're going to sit my F1 and we're going to look at it. I need to find number 6. They're going to be sometimes left to right, but other times they're scattered. So F1 6 is right here. Now, some people like to come in here and they like to do what is called the 2-cut method. They cut part of the sprue like that and like this. They'll cut it off the sprue like this, and then they'll come in and they will cut this off. And then they would just clean up the edges here. Now, I don't like doing this because you're doing double the work. You're cutting 2 different pieces, or you're cutting the piece twice. It can leave, I don't know if you could see it here, it can leave these nub marks. And that's what people are saying, get glass files and sandpaper to kind of like sand that stuff down and get rid of it. But it is not needed. If you put your model together and you put it up off to the side and up somewhere, you're not going to see those marks. But if you don't want to have those marks there, you are going to need specific sandpaper and glass files. Now, you could go with a really high grit from like Lowe's. Get yourself like 1,000, 2,000, like the really high grits, the really, really fine stuff. You don't want anything coarse, so. But, let me get D20 here. No. The way that I do it, see here's D. And now I have this facing the wrong way, so I have to flip it over. And here is my 20. You look at your piece, you look what it looks like, and then you look for it. Now the way that I do it is I get as close as possible to the edge. Like this. Making sure that I don't cut off any of the any pieces that if they're special. Now, if you go through and you look at the piece that you cut, if there's any like large amount of like extra nubbage, you could take your X-Acto knife and carefully, and I do mean very carefully, you can go through here and you can scrape it off. I normally don't need to because of the way I cut it. And you won't need to if you do it with this piece either. or if you do it with the 2-cut method most of the time. Now, when you're looking at your model, always check this here and look at its orientation. So this wants me to have the piece backwards. So if I'm looking at it like this, it does not look like the same as on here. So I'm going to flip it over, and that is the way it wants me to put it or hold it. And then the same thing, you make sure your orientation of your piece is going the proper way, and then you slide it in. That piece is just going to rest there. Most of the time they snap in, but it wants that piece to just rest there. Then it'll show you, oh, this is what it should look like top down. Not all the time will it do this, but this piece is this is doing it itself. Now we're going to look for E. Let's find E. All right, here is my letter E. Now, I need E12 and E12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find E12. Very simply. Now, if I'm looking on here, 12 is not on here twice. So what do? Well, you look for the other E. I have E twice. I have 2 boards of E. So that means that anytime it's asking for 2 of something of the same number for that specific sprue, I would look for the other sprue. So just make sure you pay attention to what sprues you have and all that. Now, I am going to do something to show. Sometimes when you're cutting off your pieces, let's say, well, let's cut that off. Cut that off. Okay. So let's say when you cut it off, you had left, probably can't see it in the camera. I don't know how to get it to focus. But there's a nub here. So, oh, well, there's a really big nub. You can go in and you can redo like your cut and get closer. Or you could take your X-Acto knife, if you have one, and trim it down. Be extremely careful when using an X-Acto knife. X-Acto knives are extremely sharp. They are razor blades. They are meant to be sharp. They are meant to cut through plastic. Well, and other things. But, so, there's that. Now, still with the same orientation, making sure that I am paying attention to which way my model is going and which piece I'm going to put in. So we're going to have this piece right here. It wants this to go in here. So I'm going to put that there and be like, well, that looks weird. Push it in. And that does. It does look weird. Why would that be there? At least in this model itself. But you will never know until you get fully finished. So we're going to push this in on this side as well. Always make sure the orientation of your pieces are oriented the correct way. Alright, we're going to put that side off to the side. And we're once again going to grab D. So if I remember right, D is my large piece here. So I need D11 and D12. I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to make sure when I'm cutting that I'm not cutting any of the part itself off, but I'm cutting close enough to the piece. Now, this piece right here, these pieces, so you have your sprue. That is the whole thing. Then you have these. I don't remember what the little like these things are called. But the smallest piece against a part is called the gate. So cutting the gate is what you want. Now, it's utterly up to you in which way you do it. You can cut your pieces however is most comfortable for you. Now, I'm looking at the picture. A D11 is what I want. Well, I don't remember which one's D11 you say. Well, if you look at your picture, okay, well, this has a peg, that has a peg, that has a hole. Okay, looking at my pieces, I see that this one has a peg. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to orient it the way it looks in my picture. And then I'm going to take my other piece and I'm going to orient it the way that it looks in the picture. You want to line up everything. Make sure you line it all up correctly. Push it together. Make sure everything goes in together smoothly. Now, if ever that piece is sticking, you do not just ram it in. Don't try to shove it. Take your time and try and find the reason why it is not going together. Now, I need A29 and A30. Now I need to look for it because now I cannot find it. A29, A30. Okay. Again, cut these off here. Making sure that I do not cut into the part itself. There we go. Now, a thing that you do not need, but it is handy, a sprue holder. Mine's off to the side, out of camera range, but I have, it sometimes doesn't work very well. Now, orientating the piece the correct way, we're going to make sure, I'm going to look at my pieces and we're going to see which one goes where. Okay. Okay, so this must be A30. So we're going to put it on there. And then this one goes this way. And again, right there. So it's as simple as that. It's just making sure that when you are putting the pieces together, that you are slowly take your time. You don't need to rush through it. Look at your pieces. Look at the orientation of your pieces. Make sure the orientation goes the correct way according to the picture. And then when you have everything lined up correctly, put it together. C10. All right. So we're gonna go in here, we're gonna look for C10. Okay. Now this is a very small cut there. I could have easily cut the piece off that needs to actually be on the Gundam. So if I was worried about it, I could have cut it away from the sprue. Now, this piece wants to be backwards, like this. And then we are going to come back here. I know back here because I need to put it on there. Okay. And it all lines up. Everything is there. Okay. Now it wants me to take this piece, the piece that I did before, and it wants me to put this piece together with it. Making sure everything is orientated. I will push the piece together. And we have the start of our body. Now, Well, we will just continue on until we get to the next section. I'm not gonna, there's not much when it comes to a tutorial for a Gundam or models in general. It's pay attention to what you're doing, pay attention to the model itself, pay attention to what you're cutting. Okay, there's that. Now C9 and also C8. I'm going to go ahead and cut both of them out because I know that the next panel is going to be C8. All right. Now, looking at it from this side, is right here, it's telling me to put it into here. So, and it tells me which orientation the piece is. So I know that this is my C9. So I'm going to go in here. And this piece is supposed to slide right on in. Same thing. Same exact thing on the other side. Make sure your pieces line up and push. Now, if you ever mess a piece up or you put the piece in the wrong spot, you're going to have to back up. Now, if you just try to rip them apart, you're going to damage it. So you want to try to wiggle the pieces apart. Like, let's see if I can do it with my fingernails. I can't do that. You can get a thing called a part separator, which will allow you to dig in and kind of help you wedge it out. There are other ways. I don't have them available to me right now, but you will have to back up. And I have had to back up multiple times, 7 and 8. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut 7 and 8 out. 7 is going to be on the right hand side, 8 is going to be on the left hand side, or at least my orientation. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the pieces in the correct position. Right there, and right there. Okay. I also always like to make sure like my pieces can move properly. So like I'm moving this piece right here to make sure that it can move. All right, we'll put that there. I need A31 and A32. Okay, here's number 32. And I'm worried that I was cutting into my part, so I'm double checked, make sure I wasn't. All right. Still making sure that the orientation go in the correct way. Looking at the other pieces to make sure that the orientation is right. So, this will go here. And this will go here. Boom. C11 and 12. I see. That's B. Pretty simple. There. All right. I'm not going to repeat myself. I've already said it multiple times. So I'm just going to look at my piece and look at my other two pieces and make sure that I have them going the right way. There we go. A 21 and 22. 21 and 22. Here they are. I apologize. A train has just gone through my town and my phone is able to pick it up. All right. Same stuff. Now, this picture here is saying click. So, you know it's not in until you hear that click. And that's exactly what it did. Click. Boom. Now I need A33. And E15. So look here, do I have a 15? Yes, I do. Okay. We'll put number A, we'll put letter A on first. Maybe. There we go. And then check on the orientation again. There you go. Making sure it moves. And that is the first part of a Gundam. That is it. That is all it is to putting Gundams together. Now, I will continue the tutorial-like model in the next episode. But for now, if you like what you see, hit the like, subscribe, share it to anybody who wishes to get into Gundam models or any kind of models at all. All the algorithm stuff. I appreciate everybody, and I hope you all have a good day.